So thank you and welcome for joining us for Native Medicine, Cultivating Mental Health Resilience and Deep-Rooted Vitality for our American Indian youth, American Native, Alaska Native youth. We thank you for joining us. Seeing that we have folks from all places across the country, we want to say welcome, good morning, good afternoon, bonjour, chumanam, depending on where you're coming from. Today we have a great opportunity to join together in our third session in our series, learning about how we can address the needs of our young people through some movement, some light movement. And one of the things that we noticed the last few sessions is that sometimes when we're doing or moving things, we don't always want to be seen on camera. And I totally get it, but it would help us if we could see who you are. I know some of you have some familiarity with our center. I see Les Left Hand and Leah Stickle and some of you other people who've been on some of the other sessions, Amy Bell, and there's lots more here as I'm going through the list. But just know that it'd be great if we can see y'all live and in person. And then at times, you may want to blacken your camera and that's okay too. But this helps us see if we're all on the same page and movement and doing. Today's, again, our third session in the series for Native Medicine, Cultivating Mental Health Resilience and Deep-Rooted Vitality for our American Indian and Alaska Native youth. Note that I'm going to share my screen, and then I'll stop for a few minutes to give our presenter time to share his screen with everyone. Today's July 12th. And this is our third session in this series. And it's a collaborative effort today with the Prevention Technology Transfer Center and the Mental Health Technology Transfer Center. We have two offices joining in providing this for you to learn, listen, share your stories, and take back to your communities. If you see this map here on your screen, it shares with you the idea of all the TTCs that are across the country. We are one of two national centers that specifically serve American Indians and Alaska Natives. We actually get to serve every state contiguous as well as Alaska, with the exception of Hawaii. Right now, they're not a part of our network yet, but we get to serve Native communities in California and Texas and everywhere in between, in Florida and upstate Maine and New York. And we are located actually at the University of Iowa, right in the center of the map almost, the National Center for the American Indian, Alaska Native, MHTTC, and PTTC. We serve at the Native Center for Behavioral Health, and we are funded by SAMHSA. Our office actually recruits, looks for experts in the field, like our presenter today, to share their knowledge, and the content of this event is the creation of our presenter, Gera Marin, and the opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the views or policies of SAMHSA, HHS, or our office, but we know that what he's going to be sharing is great, helpful, useful information. So we invite you to participate, take notes, and take it back to your communities. At the end of today's session, we want to make sure that everybody understands you will be getting a follow-up email, which will include the link to the presentation slides. Anything that you see on the screen, the video recording of the session will also be shared with you. So you'll have access to review the information that you learned today, that you participated in today, as well as getting a link to our evaluation survey. It is our GIPRA, our survey that's required so that we can help our funders understand the important work that we're sharing with each of you participating. It's really important that you know a few things about the survey link. You can click on that hyperlink at the bottom of the screen, or you can use your phone with a QR code to the right of the screen. But know that when you take this survey, it is anonymous, cannot be traced back to you, but we value your input. So it's really important that you provide some honest feedback to us, letting us know what you really enjoyed and appreciated. And if there's ways that you feel that we can offer something better for you as a participant in your community, please share that with us also. It's really important that we understand what the needs of our community are and how we can better serve you all. I'll share with you again a couple of times in the presentation by way of posting it in the chat, as well as posting it at the very end of our presentation. So keep that in mind. You'll have opportunities to go back to that. What we have before us right now is our land acknowledgement, because we are gathered virtually today. We still want to pay homage and respect to the indigenous nations whose homelands were forcibly taken over and inhabited. I want to invite you now just to take a few moments to review this, reflect on this, read this silently to yourselves, and think of the area in which you serve, the community that you serve. As we read the words of three of my colleagues, Ella Driscoll, Keely Driscoll, and Sean Bear. And thank you for everybody who's participating with us today for the Native Medicine series. It's our third session in this series, and I want to, if you're joining us just a few moments late, please make sure you put your name and your role where you serve in the chat box. That'd be very nice for us to hear and see who's a part of our session today. So thank you all for joining us. As we move forward, it's really important that you know that this session doesn't happen out of nowhere. It takes a little behind the scenes work. And so I want to introduce and thank the folks who've been generously helping me behind the scenes. I have with us on the call today, Parker Laney from our communications office and the other folks that work there with him. We also have our program manager who's co-sponsoring this, Megan Dotson. She oversees the MHTTC office, and she's unable to be with us, but supports the work that we do and knows the importance of what you all do serving your communities across the country with our Native youth and their families. So I want to say thank you for the folks who are supporting this. I'm Dr. Allison Bays, and I serve as the program coordinator for the PTTC. And it's an opportunity for me to come together with folks who are serving in the field, boots on the ground. People are actually doing a lot of important work with our young people and their families and substance use disorders and the prevention of falling into those patterns. So I want to thank everybody who's supporting us. And I want to invite our presenter, Mr. Gera Marin, to introduce himself in just a few moments and welcome you as well, because it's an opportunity for you to activate your full presence, your full power and resilience as we come together today. He's a traditional healing arts practitioner, a sacred runner, an urban farmer, a coach, and many, many more things. Doesn't matter what role you serve. If you are serving in your tribal communities, it's really important that we come together, learn together, share ideas, and share our stories so we can empower our young people to have better, healthier lives. And so through the movements you'll be implementing today, mindful practices and neuro-linguistic reconditioning, we're going to invite you to participate, to release some self-limiting thought patterns that are inflicted by colonial, capitalistic dominant societies and restore your innate resilience. We all have it in us. It's in our DNA. So let's come together today and welcome our presenter, Gera Marin.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bays. Thank you to all the forces seen and unseen that help us come together, this teacher network, this educator network, parent, tribal leader network, and allies as well, right? As we're all one family on Mother Earth working for peace, for justice, to bring balance back, right? Honoring a lot of the prophecies of our indigenous nanas and our tatas, and honoring those all over the earth too, that have their teachings and their ways of living in balance and reciprocity with respect for Mother Earth, her amazing creation, and that great force of love that guides us. So thanking all of you for showing up and representing your families, your clans, your bands, your naciones, and all the people that you work with as well. As you show up for yourself to refine the skills and the wisdom that you already have in you, it also helps you amplify your ability to be of service, to activate that healing, that wholeness, that joy in the children, in the youth, in the families, in ourselves, so we can fulfill that that purpose of ours. So thanking you all so much. And today we're going to have an interactive session like Dr. Bays just shared. And I connect with you from Yanaguana, from San Antonio, Texas. And I'm really grateful to see you all putting into the chat the different regions, the different territories and sacred lands that you're tuning in from. Thanking you all also for that song and for that prayer. I'm really excited. I feel a lot of excitement, some fire, some water, some earth, some air in my heart. I'm also connecting today with a little bit of sadness and a little bit of grief. And I'm here to share and do my best to embody with you all that we can oscillate and we can ride the waves, the ups and downs and the all arounds with some of the practices in our traditions, and the indigenous mindfulness, our connection to Mother Earth, to the four sacred elements, and to things that bring us joy and that bring us strength and bring us peace. So to begin, I want to ask if you all can either press on these digits here or give a thumbs up or a hands up. Has anyone else here just in the past week felt some ups and downs and some all arounds like I just mentioned I have? And show of hands for any of you all that when you have the ups and downs and all arounds, you have really good practices. You know how to have your routines, your physical movement, whether it's your prayer or your stillness. Who here has some routines that they've been really good at keeping lately? Who here has the routines and the practices and the ideas in mind that kind of know them, but they haven't really been able to make the time to really practice them as much as they would like to? Who here kind of has an idea, exercises, routines? Yeah, we just need a little bit more time. All right. Well, thank you for lifting that up. I also want to share with you that today, every question I'm going to ask you all, every little activity that I'm going to invite and welcome you to try on, from an observation, from a simple visual exercise to a listening exercise, these are all practices that I do on a daily with myself to keep myself centered with young people that I work with in high schools, in middle schools, even in juvenile detention centers, with other educators, with families, even my own family. Who here likes to learn things and try to practice and teach them to their own loved ones at home? Anyone like me ever learn something and practice it and feel real good about it, and then go home and try to share it with a loved one, but that loved one wasn't really as excited as you were when you learned it, and it was kind of a downer for you? Come on, give me some signals. Whew. All right. Thank you all. Appreciate that solidarity. Well, that's a little bit about me and my journey, right? And I left Texas for a while because the climate was really rough as for my indigenous culture, my practices, the earth, animals, medicines, drums, flutes, music. A lot of my family just tried to assimilate to survive in a sense. But when I left, I was able to reconnect with my family that said, you can adapt, but you can still stay true to yourself. You can still stay human. So about 15 years ago began my decolonization process, right? But while staying inside of this culture, while I've had some relatives that just went back to live on tribal lands, went back to Mexico and said they couldn't deal with the colonial capitalistic state. I want to share that context with you all because I'm committed to supporting us and our young people and still finding ways to flourish and to thrive, even in harsh environments, even when there's injustice, to still stay true to themselves, stay healthy, stay resilient. So one of the things that has really helped me, teachings from my Huachichil Chichimeca mother, is to know that the mindfulness of what I think about and what I focus on, I create more of, and I attract more of it. Who here has also had someone pass on a teaching that's similar? What we focus on, we attract more of, or we create, or we give it more life. Anyone else here receive that encouragement, that teaching in family? All right. Well, I want to invite us to do a short little activity where we're all going to put something into the chat or say it out loud, right? Using our voice is also therapeutic for us, right? Working with that totonolcayo in the center, the energy center of the throat, connecting the mind and the heart. Today, after this weekend, we were in traditional healing ceremonies, and I got to take care of one of the sacred fires for my second time. And it was really tough in really healthy ways. I got to learn a lot and grow a lot. And I've been sore since. And I've been really hot, kind of like overheated. I didn't really hydrate enough before the ceremony. So I've been thinking about about thirst, right? And we put water out when we can for the fountains for these birds that we have in our traditional healing garden here with medicines. It's really beautiful to see the little bit that we can do to put out water, to put out offerings, to put out seeds, to put out offering, right, for our animal relations. And I've been praying for water, and a relative of mine taught me, when you're praying for water and you're asking for water, for rains, ask for it like it's already here and feel it and sense it, right? Feel like the moisture in the air, feel the clouds, even hear them. It helps call on them. So since then, I've been trying to be a good nephew around that and really been practicing that. So this morning we woke up with in this amazing wild heat, with the forecast saying there's not going to be rain for a while. And there was rain where the ceremony was, and there was rain here in our yard. And I called around, and a lot of people said there wasn't really that much rain. So I'm really grateful for that blessing of the rain this morning to nourish our lands and nourish us. I'd like to invite you all to share and lift up and put it in the chat. What's one thing that you're grateful for that's going well on your land and your territory today? It could be personally inside of you. It could be something outside of you in your home, on your land. So inviting us to dig for a little bit and put into the chat, or say it out loud. One thing that's a blessing that's going well on your land today. Inviting you to put one thing into the chat so that we're all participating, or just say it with your voice real quick.
I guess I'm trying to take the fires that we're having in Alaska as Mother Earth is trying to smudge herself and cleanse herself, rather than look outside and can't see buildings. So, yeah.
Appreciate you lifting that up. And while you're feeling into what you'd like to share or others are going to share, inviting us to take breaths gently in through our nose, filling our belly, our diaphragm, and then filling the torso, the chest. We got some green grass coming up, a little bit lower temperatures. Coworker returning. Grateful connections with family, friends, community. The beautiful summer. Dampening of the rain in Alaska. River still flowing. Grateful for our family home, my work family. Yeah. Nice outside, you're able to drive with the windows down. Yeah, the support from your agencies, commitment to the Latino community in our county. Grateful for family members' health. Wonderful. Thank you all for lifting up these blessings, this gratitude, even this mixed blessing at times, right, where things can be difficult and challenging, and we can still look for some of the healing gifts, or the mixed kind of the blessings inside, or teachings inside, right? Walking that good, red, holy road. Yes. And I also want to share in context this, I'm seeing a few familiar names, a few familiar faces, and also some new names and new faces. So I don't want to take for granted, and I don't want to miss something, but I want to share that a lot of the work that we do, I'm very self-critical and critical, right, of a lot of the terminology around mindfulness and resilience, if it's only about preparing our youth and our families to endure more injustice and more racism and more harms, right? That's not what we're here for. So we know that our peoples are inherently resilient, and our great power is love, and we're connected to Mother Earth, and we're creative, and we can overcome. But this work that I'm dedicated to doing with our Sanarte Healing and Cultura Clinic is to help activate all of us, right, in our complementary ways, so we can contribute to working for peace, justice, and healing, and rebuilding our lifeways, our systems, our ceremonial centers, our trade routes, our cooperative economies, right? So I invite you all to challenge yourselves as I'm challenging myself, and for you also to challenge me, right? I never want to make any generalizations, right? That just by doing some movement or breathing or being healthy, like that's the solution to everything. But I will proceed to this next element, which is what you and I embody is the walking teaching for those around us that we want to inspire. So at times, like I said, I go back to my father and I'd be really excited, and I maybe would get a little bit preachy, right? And it wasn't resonating for him. He said, head on, I noticed when you started to change and you started to shift, and you were more compassionate and still loving, and you were getting things done, even in difficult circumstances. And the young people around you were getting in less trouble and getting more blessings and doing good in school and going to your programs and going camping and growing food and starting small little businesses and going to school and getting good jobs. Like, I started to believe what you guys were about also. Right? So it challenges me as well to show results, right? So it's really inside what's going on inside of us, but it's also these results that we're living into. And Dean shares, grateful for the beautiful day in the ocean medicine that still flows in our ancestral shores. Yes. Thank you all for lifting up all this gratitude. So now I'm going to just show a few slides, and then we're going to do some more practices. And then I'm going to invite you all to do a little bit of writing. So please pull out a writing utensil and a piece of paper to really help that amazing mind, nervous system, brain connection to connect. All right, so in a moment, I'll request screen sharing whenever we can, folks over at the Native Center. And we'll go ahead and begin while that's happening. All right. So I want to just overview. Excellent. So again, lifting up teachers of mine in some of our home territories, that gray wolf that has migrated far distances from the central of Anahuac, Mexico, all the way to Canada, many, many species, but a great teacher of ours that teaches us love, discipline, working in packs, but also how the leaders, right, as you all like educators, tribal leaders, parents, leaders don't always lead from the front and say, hey, come on. Sometimes leaders also lead from the middle or from the back, and they encourage, echan porras, right? They share encouragement, they share songs, drum, they encourage that playfulness when it's time, and also when it's time to get together. And if it's hunt after the elk or move because a storm's coming, right? There's that amazing discipline. The sacred nopal in the middle, right? That somehow, even in the harsh climates, knows how to retain moisture and grow fruits, these sacred prickly pears, these tunas, right, that provide so much food and nutrients for all of life, right, in these deserts and semi-arid desert plains. The woodpecker, I'm sorry, the road runner as well, that also teaches us about working with particular plants like the sabilas, the aloes. It also knows how to keep itself hydrated, conserve its energy, run fast when it's time to run fast, but also walk when it's time to walk, right? And up above, those caracaras, right, which is like the best of these worlds of the raptor and also the transformer, right? So they're hunters, but they also clean up. Sometimes kind of like the coscacuautlis, like the turkey vultures, and they help kind of compost, turn something that might have been just left, but they turn that also into food and nourishment. And sometimes they leave some of their offerings and their feathers that we use for cleansing and ceremonies. Goals for today, seeing again our grandmother Ayot, the great teacher of ours, is for increasing our compassionate self-awareness, cultivating skills for empowering self-talk, practicing mindfulness for guarding our mind, relieving some physical tension, harvesting practices for our daily vitality and centering routines, and for all of you to get to offer your insights and your questions to enrich this series together. I share this with you. For some of us that we're visual, we're audio, we're kinesthetic, I invite you to take this in for a moment. This invitation for you to show up fully as yourself and really get the most out of this for you and your people. Inviting us to give ourselves the gift of doing one thing at a time. We kind of made fun of ourselves 2 weeks ago, right? Where we were admitting that sometimes we multitask and sometimes we may have to. I have a few friends that are parents, and there's many moments where we have to, but there's also many moments where we don't. And when we can focus on one thing, it actually creates ease on our brains and our minds and our nervous system, which means less stress and ability to deal with some stress when it comes up, right? So I'm sharing with you all different activities and things that we can do and not do to create more ease on us, because we have enough challenges ahead of us, right? Enough things that kind of stress us and push our buttons, right? So we're going to do things to help chill and balance that nervous system and also model that for the next generations, right? We'll be doing some standing activities and also connecting in pairs to communicate with each other. So now I'd like to invite you all into into pairs. I'm going to ask Dr. Bays to put you all in pairs. And Just before we do that, actually, I'm going to share these questions that you're going to get invited to share with each other, right? And it's along the lines of, why are we here today? What is one thing we'd like to perhaps experience less of? Sometimes people show up and say, gosh, I'm tired of this, or this is uncomfortable, or I don't want to be reacting in this way. Or what I rather have is this type of experience, or this type of feeling, or this type of knowing, actually, right? Or what I'd like to be able to do different, right? So we're not just pretending that we're going to ignore the negativity, ignore what's difficult. We like to name, I want less of this, right? And it could be something that's systemic. It's all systemic, actually. All of our problems are rooted, right? They root from that colonial capitalistic root. But my teachers remind me that I can't complain and blame it all day. There's a lot I can do for myself. And the more I'm in balance, the more I can organize with others. And even if we're hurting and we're walking a little chueco at times, right? We may be limping at times, energetically, spiritually, right? The more I can do for myself, the more I can show up for others, right? So I can name what I'd like less of, and I can name what I want more of, what I'd like to experience a little bit more. So before we get into this, I'm going to invite us just to do a short visual practice. And I want us to actually leave our workstation right here. And I want us to find and just go glance at two things that appear to you as beautiful, that are inside of you, inside of your space, or outside. It could be beautiful. It could be the light. It could be a particular color that you like. It could be a plant. It could be an inanimate object. It may just surprise you. So I'm going to just give us a half minute, be short, walk away from the screen and go just observe two things that resonate for you as beautiful, please. Excellent. We're back. A little bit over 30 seconds. Thank you all. In a short moment, we sought out something that was beautiful. Did anyone go to something that they kind of expected? They kind of knew, I know what I'm going to go to. I know that there's something beautiful. I'm going to go find that. Show of hands, show of signals, fingers. Did anyone know that they were going to go for something? All right, a few of us. Was anyone surprised, actually? Well, I didn't think this would catch my eye as beautiful, but this kind of surprised me. Like, well, this stood out for me. All right. Excellent. Great. Well, I just had an intuition, y'all, and I shared 2 weeks ago that I love slides. I love being able to show visual elements, audio elements, and that sometimes it kind of trips me up. And I really want to honor my intuition in my heart, which is here for you all. So I want to present and facilitate for you all what I would like presented and facilitated for me. So I'm going to guide us into a short physical movement. Show of hands, who here is experiencing any soreness in their bodies today? Tension, soreness. Is anyone here experiencing tension or soreness that's kind of been prolonged? It's kind of been going on for a little while now. I'll be honest, I've had this like upper neck thing. It's kind of been bothering me for a little bit. It's getting better, but it's there. It's keeping me kind of in check. All right. Show of hands. Who here's been on a lot of visual virtual meetings already this week? Okay. All right. All right. It's true. I haven't yet. They kind of start for me on Tuesdays. I go Tuesday to Thursday. And appreciate you being real about that. So I'm going to invite us to do a physical activity. It's building off of what we've done these past few weeks, right? We've done a little bit of work to release the shoulders, the neck, to oxygenate ourselves, right? So I'm going to show us a few different sequences throughout our session today. We only have 90 minutes, but I'm going to show you a few some really short, some medium short, that you can practice throughout your day to re-energize yourself and focus, really strengthen and refine that focus when you need it, to write, to read, to teach, to keep your cool when things are hot, right? So I'm going to invite us to do a few things while we're sitting first, and then we're going to stand. But first, practicing this mindfulness, this awareness, this plena conciencia, this full consciousness, without trying to change anything. I want to invite you all just to scan your whole body from the top of your head all the way down your torso, your belly, your back, your hips, your legs, and just scan for any areas that are calling for your attention. Maybe there's a pulsing, a throbbing, a temperature adjusting. Just notice if your body's saying anything without any judgment, right? One of our goals was compassionate self-awareness. We're not judging ourselves. We're going to be more aware, and we're going to actually learn to bring in small little habits that add up to help us honor ourselves and stay more in harmony. All right, so after this practice, we're going to scan again, and we're going to tune in because all of our bodies are a little bit different, right? So now I want to invite us to look forward, and while looking forward, notice that you can see to your left, you can see to your right, you can see above you, you can see below you. And notice that you can even see a little bit of your face, maybe your cheeks, maybe your nose, maybe around your eyes a little bit, just kind of noticing these subtleties. Now I want to invite you to notice one sound that you can pick up on. Centering that vagus nerve, centering that mind, that nervous system. It's real simple. Just noticing one sound, maybe outside the room or inside, maybe an electrical appliance. And now just notice the sound of your breath for 2 breaths in and out. Excellent. Next phase, inviting us to rub our hands together. Noticing heat, noticing friction, noticing the sound. Feeling that warmth on top of our thighs for a moment. Shrugging our shoulders up, back, and down. And I want to invite us to gently tap our feet on the ground. You'll see me, I'm going to kind of just like hop in place a little bit. You're tapping your feet, and see if you can notice the sound as you're tapping that feet. Excellent. Rubbing the hands really, really hot this time, really warm. Crossing our arms and gently pinching the trapezius, this like connecting shoulder muscle from the deltoids, shoulders, to the neck, using that back of the thumb, that thumb knuckle, and starting gently. This is the first little movement that we're going to do. We're going to experience there's a difference between squeezing, a little bit of light massage to open, to release, and there's also movement that we can do that helps move energy from the core. Inviting us to be breathing in through our nose and gently exhaling through the mouth as we're just observing with beginner's mind, observing the subtleties as we're moving energy. And one last time, taking a deep breath in and gently squeeze and hold it. And then gently exhale while you release that grip. Notice the sensations in our hands and our arms and our shoulders. Allow the neck to open up a bit. The chin comes down a little bit. Inviting us to take 2 deep diaphragm breaths and filling our belly. Inhaling through our nose. Filling the chest. And then exhaling from the chest down to the belly. And one more time. Inhaling, filling the belly. Filling the chest. Exhaling. Noticing the subtleties of what we can pick up on, sensations in the body. Just staying observant, no judgments. And now we're going to do a little bit of that tension soothing. So I want to invite us to please stand up. I invite you to just follow along and gently pace left to right. We're going to start mellow, and I'm going to actually guide us through something a bit more invigorating to help us, those of us that have been sitting a lot or are standing a lot, right? To get some movement, to move some of that built up tension and stress, but also to help energize our amazing brains to do what they're here to help us do. Keep that balance, keep that creativity. So I'm pacing left and right, and now I'm bringing the opposite hand up in conjunction with the opposite knee. So my left knee comes up, my right hand comes up as well. Left knee comes up. So I'm kind of like walking in place, but I'm marching in place. I'm just going to angle my screen down so you can see my knees. It's simple. I'll be honest. I kind of can trip up a little bit if I think about it too much. But it's an excellent exercise to connect the two hemispheres of our amazing brain. And now to add a mindfulness element to this is just notice the subtleties of how you can feel the air as your arms and your legs kind of just move through the space. Breathing in through the nose and seeing if we can relax as much as possible while we're doing this. One more on each side. Excellent. Now I want to invite us to work with this water element that we have, which is our kidneys. Warming up our hands and bringing our hands to our low back and gently rubbing to where you feel that warmth though. There's a connection between our kidneys and our adrenals glands that get a little tired and fatigued when we go hard and we don't rest enough, or if we lean on too much caffeine. But just this, a little bit of self-soothing, it's sending all types of signals to the body, and the body's like, wow, I'm loved, I matter. All right, I'm gonna turn on my healing power. To repair, to circulate, to cleanse the blood, to turn fat into fuel and muscle. Excellent. Bringing the hands out in front of us and looking at our fists, making fists, and now bringing them back and gently tap them. It's kind of cool. It's kind of playful. And notice that you can breathe in a way in through your nose and out through your mouth. And it makes it a little bit easier. Gently pacing left and right. Excellent. Relaxing the arms, shrugging the shoulders up, back, and down. Wonderful. Next movement, it's kind of a fun one. It helps wake up the spine as well. These are exercises that we do before we run, before we dance, to warm up the ligaments, the joints, to prevent injury before we play basketball with the youth. So, but we do them in this sequence. So this next one, we open up our eagle wings, and then we gently exhale and we cross the arms. Right, so I'm going to step back a little bit so you can see. So I'm inhaling, opening up the eagle wings. Then I exhale, and my one arm comes out in front of me, and the other comes behind me as I exhale and wring out that belly. So inhaling, and then exhaling, pressing all the breath out of the belly, strengthening the core, our balance center. Inhaling. Excellent. And now I want to invite us, while we're doing that, kind of gently bounce the knees, right? Bouncing the knees takes the pressure off of the low back, right? Sometimes I notice I'm standing real stiff, or I'm like trying to be real focused and, pay my respects standing real tall, but I'm really stiff. The more buoyant we are, bouncy, the more we engage the biggest muscle of the body, which is the thighs, the quads, which helps stimulate our metabolism actually. Excellent. And gets the heart pumping a little bit. Excellent. Doing 2 more on each side, feeling that breeze. And coming down to a standstill. Wonderful. Now I'm going to invite us to gently rise up onto our toes a few times. We're going to do 9 toe raises. And like I said, we can do these sitting down as well, right? But we're really just pressing up on the toes, engaging the calves that are connected to the kidney channel, right? That kidney is our waters, right? So we're just supporting the body and the organs to just do what they do and flow and stay awake as well. These movements are preparation for the theomania, for some of that just relaxation, that observation. Excellent. Inviting us to shake out the right leg, even if we're sitting. Shake out the left leg, even if we're sitting. The right hand, the whole elbow, the whole shoulder. Same thing with the left hand, the left shoulder, the whole left arm. And now bringing our fingertips to the top of our shoulders. This one's really, really important. Noticing how you feel right now in your neck area, and notice how we feel when we're done afterwards, right? So we're going to do slow, big circles. I start going backwards. See what feels natural for you. A lot of these practices that I'm offering are for you actually to explore what feels good for me. Heda's doing it this way, but I do it this other way, and it kind of helps me work out this kink or move out this soreness a little bit, right? We're here to help activate that teacher that's inside of you. And we can take turns guiding each other. 2 more here. And then this next one, inviting us to aim the elbows up, take a deep inhale, gently stand on the tippy toes, and then really slowly come back down and go the opposite direction. Adding that intentional breathing in through the nose, filling the belly, out through the mouth. One more, let that relax. Shoulders up, shrug back and down, and noticing that gentle little bit, maybe of burning or a little bit of fatigue in the shoulders, but it feels good, right? It's that good, healthy kind of burn where it's like that exercise. And just notice that subtle difference in how your shoulder feels, the back of your neck, your head, how your energy is flowing, just from the little bit of movement, right? And these are considered warm-ups. Excellent. So now I'm going to invite us, like we've done in the past, right? We have this wolf and deer game, right? Where the wolf chases the deer, but to play, and they take turns, right? But the object of the game really is just to sprint through the air just with the hands. We're going to do 2 sets, and then I'm going to guide us in a short scan of our body to increase all that healing power and presence inside of us. So inviting us to gently lunge forward with our left leg. As much as possible, we start with that left as closest to the heart. Keeps us in tune with that greatest power, that heart, that love. Left foot a little bit forward, we're lunging. My feet are about a foot distance apart, shrugging the shoulders up, back, and down. From here, seeing if you can kind of stick your hips back and then bring the hips forward a little bit and then find the middle for you. Right? We're also correcting that posture, the mindfulness of our posture. So again, sticking the hips back, sticking the hips forward, and then finding that middle, gently flexing that core, that strong core center. Excellent. And right here, we're going to have fun with this. And inviting us to do this in the smart way, I can really tire myself out really easy if I'm just running and breathing through my mouth, and then my mouth gets really dry, right? So, which can happen sometimes when we're undergoing some stress or there's something that happens in the classroom, and I've panicked before. So inviting us to build these new muscles and these practices, habits of breathing in through the nose slowly, right? It helps the oxygen get where it needs to get to even smoother. So we're going to be breathing in through our nose, and we're going to slice through the air just for 13 seconds, 2 different times. So I'm going to invite us to take a breath in together. And on the exhale, we're going to begin. See how you can slice through the air, you're running, even if you're sitting down, but you're breathing slow and calm in through your nose, breathing out through the mouth, and see how that affects and supports you in going another second. 3, 2, 1. Now step or sit your feet right next to each other. Let your spine be tall and just notice the subtleties. Silently repeat after me in your mind. I'm grateful to be present in this here and now. I notice sounds around me. I notice a peaceful energy around me. I notice my heart racing a little bit. I notice I'm breathing a little bit deeper. I notice some sensations in my body as energy is moving. I'm grateful to be showing up for myself in this way, exploring, learning, and opening to the vitality of my body and my mind. Taking a deep breath in together, filling the belly, then filling the heart, and then exhaling from the chest, exhaling the belly. Awesome. Now the other leg goes back, right? So my right foot's forward, my left foot is back this time, shoulders back and down. And then the same thing, the hips go back. I kind of exaggerate it, then I exaggerate them forward, and then find that middle. One more time, exaggerate the hips back, exaggerate the hips forward, find that middle, flex the belly, kind of tap the belly a little bit. We're strengthening that core. Excellent. Arms up. And we're going to slice through air even more graceful than this last time, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Noticing our surroundings, noticing sound. We'll begin on our next exhale together. So let's breathe in and go. Tiawi. Breathing deep, peacefully, filling the chest, the heart, the lungs. 3, 2, 1. Step forward, shoulders back, up and down. Gently gazing down towards the nose. Just feeling those sensations of aliveness and being in awe for just a little bit of movement, a little bit of running in place, how it can stimulate that peace, those pleasant sensations in the body. Find a posture that feels good for you if it's gently bending the knees. On your next exhale, inviting you to gently get back into a seated position, into your chair or on the ground, wherever your back can be supported and be tall. Today, I invite you to allow yourself to wiggle your hips into the back of your chair and let that chair really hold you up. Let that chair do its work. And inviting you just to observe your heart rate, your lungs, your breathing, as it got a little bit increased, maybe even a lot like mine. Whatever it is for you, it's just right the way it is. And just notice that on its own, your body starts to breathe on its own, gently in through the nose and out through the mouth. Things start to balance. And observe for one sensation now that is standing out for you. It might have been the same sensation from when we started. It may be a different type of pulsing or a temperature shift. Now I want to really invite us to let our shoulders drop down to our back. And we're going to do a short eyes closed practice. Last time we did a few eyes open practice. You're welcome to keep them open if you like as well. And if there's a moment you're comfortable, you get to gently close your eyes. And inviting us with the eyes open or closed, just to allow the eyes to relax. Allow the jaws to relax. The temples. Allow the neck still to be long. The chin kind of comes down a little bit. Kind of feel a gentle tug as if there was a star up in the sky that had a ring of light that was just shining down. It was kind of pulling you up, helping your spine stay nice and tall. And observing the parts of your body that are making contact with whatever's holding you up from the ground. Maybe you're wearing shoes or sandals or socks, or you're barefoot. Allowing ourselves to be still for this body, mind, and brain regeneration moment, where the body can go into some rest, but the mind stays alert and observant, inviting us to notice the parts of our body making contact with the chair, from our hips, our legs, to our back. Noticing the parts of our body making contact with the air in the room. Perhaps it's our arms or our hands, or the back of our neck, maybe even our face a little bit, our ears. And noticing, again, a sound that we can pick up on. Maybe it's an appliance, maybe there's a sound of the air or the breeze. And without trying to understand or judge it, just allow ourselves to just notice the sound of our breathing for a few breaths. Is there a difference in the sound from when we inhale compared to when we exhale? And inviting us to give ourselves permission to let the body relax and regenerate energy as we take our attention to the different parts of our body. We sense them lighting up with that healing light and power that's already in us. And with our attention and our focus and our intention, there can be healing and repair and regeneration, allowing us to be even more present, mindful, self-compassionate, and strong. Inviting us to begin by noticing the sensations of our feet, noticing the sensations of the top of the feet, the front of the legs, the shins, noticing the sensations, the back of the calves. And with our attention, they fill with a soothing, regenerative energy. Noticing our left knee, the top of our left thigh, our left hip, the back of our left knee, our left hamstring, and our whole left leg regenerating with energy. Our attention with our right knee, the whole knee, the front and the back of the knee, the top of the thigh, the quadricep muscles, and the back of the leg, the hamstring muscles, the right hips and the front of the hips. Noticing the base of the spine, that root energy center of ours, the low back, the base of our spine, in front of us in our belly, that navel, that digestion energy center. Noticing that low back and that low belly area energized, just with the subtle intention of observing, ascending, and turning on healing energy there. Noticing just above our navel, our solar plexus, that little dimple we have at the base of our ribs, around our stomach area, and our ribs and our chest and our heart, our loving heart that radiates love to ourselves, to our whole body, and feeling the middle of the back as well, both sides, those muscles, those wings underneath our armpits, lats, feeling the whole torso from the back and the front chest and the heart area, the front of the throat and the back of the neck, filled with healing energy that begins inside of us and that's connected to everything. Noticing the left shoulder, the left arm, the elbow, the forearm, left wrist and hands, the thumb, the first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, the whole left arm, filling with that energy, that peaceful regenerative energy. Moving to the right shoulder, the front shoulder, the back of the shoulder, the whole right side of the arm, the forearm, the elbows, the wrists, the fingers, and allowing us as much as possible to allow ourselves to be seated, still, and just scanning and observing these parts of our body with our powerful mind, it's sending that energy to those parts of our body, the back of the neck, back of the head, top of the head, right temples, right ears, left ears, center of the forehead, and that first intuitive eye in between the eyebrows, left eyebrow, right eyebrow, our nose, left eye, right eye, relaxed, left cheek and jaw relaxed, right cheek and jaw relaxed, mouth, chin, and our tongue is even relaxed. And appreciating the subtleties of just being able to scan in our body, the body parts, and how with our intention, energy goes there. And our bodies are so wise and intelligent that regeneration happens because of our intention and our attention. And we center ourselves in this space, whether our eyes are open or our eyes are closed, we know where we are in this room, and we can sense where there may be walls in the room in front of us, behind us, to the left, to the right, above us. We can sense where there may be a window, or there may be light coming in from a light bulb, or maybe even light from outside. We can subtly see a little bit of light coming through our eyelids. We can notice the taste in our mouth, inviting us to take 4 deep, nourishing breaths, filling the belly, and then all the way up, filling the torso, the chest, and the heart area, and the front and the back. At our own pace, taking some of those nourishing diaphragm breaths. And inviting you in your own words, or repeating these words silently in your own mind, whatever feels comfortable for you. I acknowledge and honor my amazing, powerful body. I am grateful to be in tune, even more so today, with the needs and the strength of my body. I'm grateful for insights and remembering ways to honor my powerful body. I'm grateful to remember that I can speak kindly to my body. I'm grateful knowing that I can observe my surroundings as a way of centering myself, my nervous system, my mind, my body. I'm grateful knowing that I know how to slow down when it's time to slow down. And if I ever need to pick it up, speed it up, move swiftly, I can do so and stay graceful. I'm grateful for the insights that emerged today and will continue these next coming days of how to honor my powerful, amazing body. Inviting us, whether eyes open or eyes closed, to begin to gently wiggle the toes. Gently open and close the hands, making a gentle fist. While we're doing that, by looking forward, our head still looking forward, gently look to the left with our eyes and scan from left to right, and then from right to left. And do it one more time. Left to right, right to left. Inviting us to blink 4 times. I'd like to invite us to look away from the screen for a moment. I'm going to show you the face I'm going to make, but we're going to stretch the mouth. All right, we're really playful. We take teachings from the animal relations. We're hybrids of warriors and healers and dancers and runners, but we're also very playful. So I'm going to invite us to make a funny face, to open the mouth and stretch the tongue out to really open everything up that had just been relaxed. So for me, it might look something like this. So you're welcome to turn behind you and do the same thing. All right, and look forward again and act cool. Yeah. Now I want to invite us to write down for ourselves, right? This practice for ourselves, right? 2 questions from this recent practice. We did some movement, right? Did some stretching, did some dynamic breath work, and we did a little bit of that seated work, that relaxation, where the body went through its process, the mind stayed awake and alert. It may have traveled some places, but we returned often, right? Using those sensory roots to sense and bring us back down to anchor us. So I want to invite you to write down two different things for you, right? One thing that I got from this practice is, it could be a feeling, a sensation, something I remembered, right? Something I got from this practice is, I'm just going to give us 30 seconds and then I'll ask us the second question. Excellent. Appreciate some of you writing that in the chat. That's excellent. And if you're up for it, you're welcome to just scribble it down on a Post-it note even. There's something really powerful that happens as we're helping ourselves kind of build in these habits, right? For our personal power and our peace. Sometimes just jotting it down. And you're welcome, Gilbert. Excellent. So another few more seconds for something I harvested, I gained from this practice. Excellent. Good memories, moving some tension, feeling better in the neck. Yes. Feeling peaceful and relaxed, almost sleepy at first, but then got some energy again, reconnecting. Important to do with students and maybe some teachers. Yes. Increasing our energy with running in place. Yeah, so important. Simple things, right? And this is through Zoom, right? So I try to modify a lot of what we do live in groups on Zoom. And we're going to go deeper. I'm going to add elements these next few sessions that we do. So please keep returning. I felt less tense and more in tune with my body, senses, and surroundings. This is awesome, y'all. This was in 14 minutes, right? So really grateful for that. Shift up the narrative, right, around these Zoom connections, right? We can create this for ourselves, but I did not do it for you. So I want you all to remember that you did this for yourselves, right? You showed up. You could easily be multitasking, doing 3 different things, right? Right. And you may also notice, you know what? I gave it 70%. Next time I'm going to give it 85%. So the second question is now, right? I want to ask you, who needs you to take care of yourself so that you can be at your best? Who needs me to take care of myself so I can be at my best is, I'm gonna write that down first. Once you write it down, I also welcome it into the chat. Excellent, right? From family, from the folks that we work with. Everyone I come across, yes. Me, myself, and my community, family community, everyone, that's awesome. A little bit different than my group last Thursday. You know, sometimes they would just say like this one person. I was like, oh, my wife, oh, my spouse, oh, my dog, it's who I have, they need me. So I'm healthy enough to actually walk them as much as they need it. I could tell you all are very selfless and in community. So I'm really grateful for that. So now I'm going to invite and request Dr. Bass to put us into pairs. And also to notice what happens for you in your breathing, in your body. Hopefully you all are comfortable to jump on video with each other for a quick moment, right? But we're also practicing things that we want our young people to be able to feel comfortable practicing. And sometimes we lean into a little bit of discomfort, but just communicating, connecting with each other, right? So I want to invite you all from that first question, right, that I was going to ask, but I'm glad we did this practice first to really taste and feel together, right? So now I want you to invite yourself to share, what's one thing that you want to experience less of, in the context of why am I here today? One thing I want to experience less of, and one thing I want to experience more of or grow more of, right? And for example, last Thursday, one person was like, I want to experience less worrying about the future. And then it was like, okay, well, what do you want instead? They're like, well, less anxiety. But we're like, well, instead, what would you prefer? And they let us coach them a little bit. And they're like, oh, well, I'd like to feel more at peace. And even if I have a lot to do in the future, that I can just be here now, be centered, and I can plan out and be prepared. We're like, excellent, right? So inviting you to support each other with that a little bit too. If Hannah just kind of is stuck on what I want less of and I can't get into what I do want more of, you're welcome to ask him, right? So thank you, Dr. Bass, for putting that in the chat. One thing you want to experience less of, and what's one thing you'd like to experience more of or be able to do? So we're going to give us 4 minutes with each other, right? So share 2 minutes each. And Dr. Bass has put us into pairs, so please accept that invitation. At 3 minutes, we're going to call us back, which means you still have 1 more minute. So it'll be 4 minutes total. If you're done, you're welcome to come back and connect with us. The person with the shortest hair gets to go first. So go for it into your small pairs, please. And we'll see you back in 4 minutes. Notice I was muted. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you all for connecting with each other. Who here feels like they were just getting warmed up? They could have been communicating a little bit more.
That's me, Captain.
All right, all right. Yeah, sometimes 4 minutes are like, what, 4 minutes? What am I going to say for 2 whole minutes? So this is the opposite kind of spectrum. Right on. And who here feels like within 4 minutes, you still got to share a little bit?
Oh, yes.
Who here feels like they really tried to like listen to what their partner was, wanting less of and wanting more of? All right. I'd like to invite folks to share a little bit, whether in words here. I'd love to hear some voices around, like, what was that activity like for you? What was it like to share? What you'd like to experience less of, to experience more of? Was it a little nervous? Was it just normal, natural? Did you get any insight from it? Anything reaffirmed? Anything difficult about that exchange? Anything you'd like to lift up? What was that like for you all? I'd like to hear some voices.
I guess I realized with what you shared was that we're not alone and we're on the same boat, kind of. Maybe just in a little bit different atmosphere, but the one thing that when you said something about connecting to staying true to your values, is I was raised with traditional values, and I think COVID and a lot of other dynamics in my kids' life, they weren't ever taught the traditional values. So that's one way I want to reconnect with my kids this fall.
I'm seeing this. Mary Big Bow was in a room with Carolyn, but no visiting. But we're sorry if there were a few of you. For some reason, some people may have stepped away and they didn't know that we were in a small group. So doing the best we can, and we'll do another short one here too, so we can connect with each other. I'd like to share and lift it up, hearing that I have some of the same stressors. Nice meeting folks, connecting, learning about each other's work. I'd like to hear a few more voices. What stood out for you all in that exchange with your partner, whether something that you got to share or something that your partner shared that stood out for you? I'm taking some breaths with you all. I'm inviting all of us to take some breaths too. We're in no hurry. Sometimes a little bit of silence is cool. And it takes me a moment to translate what I'm thinking in my mind or feeling in my heart and put in these words. So give yourself that time, but we're going to take a few breaths and invite you all to share in your voice anything else that stood out for you from that exchange.
Hello. I think what stood out for me is when she said that she felt like she was maybe not doing enough at work. And sometimes it gets so overwhelming to where you feel like you're not doing enough, or you're not reaching who you need to reach. And then you keep trying and keep trying to do more because you don't feel like you're getting through to who you want to and reaching the families that really need it. So that's kind of what I felt stood out to me. I don't remember a little bit of time. I already forgot who I was in the breakout room with.
I think what stood out for us in our group was this universal theme of wanting to get rid of stress or anxiety and wanting to bring more peace, calm, and zen, and then really searching to find where we do that in our lives right now, whether it be running or being with pets and pet therapy.
Exchange. Still taking some breaths, inviting some other voices as they're translating from the mind and heart. Something you that stood out for you in this exchange.
For me, what stood out was that my partner in the group and I are on the same page, seeking more understanding and more connection with the Native communities near us, and how helpful this has been in learning more of the way that you have taught us how you think specifically and how you're working with the youth in your area. So it was really helpful.
Wonderful. Would anyone like to volunteer what these last two participants shared in the chat? We have Dean and Carlos. Would anyone like to just read them out loud just so we can hear some other voices, please?
Sure. Good afternoon. Getting my camera back on too. Thank you for everything, the time, the space, and the place. Yeah, it was just making that time to meditate, to take care of ourselves, to honor ourselves, and just to re-energize so we can continue. That was a common thread.
Excellent. Thank you, Carlos. And Dean shares, we both acknowledge that self-care is important for us in doing the work in our tribal communities. Excellent. Now, real talk, y'all. Who here feels like, yeah, this is great, self-care, a little bit of movement, a little meditation, some breath work, some laughter, but I still feel like it's gonna be difficult to like weave this into my real busy schedule. Who here feels like, come on, my schedule's pretty full, it's gonna be a little difficult? Who here's feeling like, I have a busy schedule, I do a lot, and I'm so committed, I'm gonna find ways to bring in some of this movement, this self-care, this, whether it's meditation or mindfulness, I'm gonna be able to do it. So I want to share a best practice with y'all, big ups to y'all, right? That and my coaches have shared with me, right? That even if I can't see it in my calendar, I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna do it. The way I talk to myself, right, is actually gonna help me create and bend that time. So who here is kind of hard on themselves when they're like make a mistake or they don't do something that's like kind of perfect? Anyone here have a little inner critic that's kind of hard, kind of rough, a little rudo on you? Oh, only a few of us. All right, y'all been doing that work. That's great. I'm seeing that. Well, lifting up, as we touched on 2 weeks ago, right? This internalized oppression, this internalized racism, it's been pretty alive in my families, right? We're mixed blood, indigenous, Chichimeca, Huachichil, but then some folks try to just kind of lean to like, oh, but we're also Spanish, right? And right, again, forces of assimilation and acculturation. But in this new era, in this new time that we're in, right, we're told in this era of the sixth sun, the sexto sol, of consciousness, of reawakening, of picking back up our ways, our traditions, right? Our ranching, our farming, our instruments, especially our drums, our dances, and our joy. Right? The power of self-talk, right? Right. So in a sense, I work with young people, and you're getting that sense, right? From being an athlete, and I practice healing work, but I got this warrior and this healer inside of me. And there's a little bit of a contradiction at times. Who here sometimes feels a contradiction? There's like some anger and there's some love, or there's like some fighter and there's some lover. Anyone else here sometimes feel some contradiction that you're learning how to balance inside of you? Show a hand, show a signal. Okay, thank you. So in these practices I share, not only in the physical movement, right? Sometimes it stretches, sometimes it's dancing, sometimes it's walking in the cold, walking in the heat, right? Sometimes it's our music, right? It's our drumming, it's our playfulness. Sometimes it's out on my own. I go run in the hills, and I do my own training just to move my energy and some of my grief and my anger. Sometimes it's in community we come together, but I recognize the most important is my daily self-talk, right? So a practice I want to encourage you all and leave you all with, right, is in the mornings when we wake up, right? First and foremost, we're taught through example, through my grandmother, my mother, my grandfathers. We give thanks and we wake up with excitement. Even if I'm a little sore from taking care of fire and tying the drum the night before, I'm a little bit rusty and my little achy, doesn't matter. I wake up like, yes, I'm so grateful for another day, right? Who here already does that? Excellent, right? It's in us, right? That's part of our ways. And there have been moments where I've forgotten. There's some moments where I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got so many things to do today and not enough time. And there've been moments where I forget my practice and I haven't fully done my movement, my breath work, my meditation, praying with the water, right? Who here can also admit sometimes we fall off of our practice or our rhythm. All right, so the practice here that I'm offering is to not get mad at ourselves, right? One is to notice, oh, Gera, I got off my rhythm. What's the result? You know what? I actually wasn't as like resilient and creative and loving. Okay, I get it. I forgive myself, and now I'm going to create a new story. Gera, we're in the process of getting back our rhythm, of creating our practices that give us joy and strength and power, and tune me in to God's amazing energy and wisdom that's always guiding me, right? But it helps me clear that veil sometimes, right? So I'm encouraging and I'm kind, right? Sometimes all the things that my father didn't tell me, right? Because of all the internalized oppression, the self-hate he had, he didn't really tell me those kind things. One of my teachers said, you have to tell yourselves those things you wish you were told, right? So I do that. So every single day I write 5 things down. I say, I'm grateful that this and this and this is happening. I'm grateful that this is going to happen, right? Today I wrote, I'm grateful that amazing people are going to show up for this teacher training, and we're going to have a great time, and everyone's going to leave feeling good and with practices they're going to incorporate into their lives, right? You see how I'm using my hands, y'all? I'm fired up about this, because when I use my body, it registers, right? If I'm like, yeah, I'm excited about this training. Yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to move around and I'm going to meditate a little bit. It's going to be good, right? My body is not believing a word I'm saying, right? So encouraging us to remember some of our indigenous teachings, right? Of that self-talk, right? Combined with energy, right? And our visuals, right? I close my eyes and I visualize this Zoom screen full of people, bright, beautiful, whether I see you or you're on audio, I'm feeling you. And I'm feeling the people behind you that you're in service with, that you're building with. And I'm feeling like I'm a part of that we're building peace and justice and healing in our communities, right? So I'm visualizing that and I'm adding emotion to it, right? So this is kind of like the next level of some of our mindfulness training, is mindfully watching my mind, right? Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about how sometimes I put a wolf or I put a jaguar and he guards my mind for whenever thoughts come in that are not helpful. He growls at them and they have to bounce. If they penetrate, then I got to pull them like weeds and let them go. But I got to plant something new there to grow, right? So we're going to go a little bit deeper with that. I'm going to be asking you a little bit too about how are you going to guard your mind? But for now, I'm going to guide us through a short activity to experience the spectrum of contraction and expansion, of opening and closing, of vitality and low energy, right? These are activities that we can practice with our young people, right? And also to energize ourselves, right? Like Gilbert mentioned, right? Activities just to energize ourselves for a moment. So from a seated position and then a standing. First seated, I want to invite you all acting. We're actors right now. Act like you're really tired. Show it with your whole body and your shoulders and your breathing. Now shake that out. Shake out the hands, shake out the shoulders. Take a deep breath into the nose, fill in the belly and the chest. Excellent. And now act like you are the prayer of your ancestors come true, and you are energized and you are powerful and you're fulfilling your purpose. Make that movement. Now add some sounds to it. Yes. All right, now we're gonna do 3 sets, right? So I'm gonna say contract, expand, right? So contract is I'm tired, right? I'm depressed, whatever. And expand is answer prayer, fulfilling my purpose while others are fulfilling their purpose. We're powerful. And feel it in your body and turn it on in every cell. Contract. Expand. Yes. Yes. Contract. Expand. Turn on. Yes. Ooh. Yeah. One more time. Contract. Expand. Turn on. Yeah. Woo. Yes. Now inviting us to turn away and make a sound of I'm wild, I'm free, I'm powerful, and the face of it as well. Turn back in that cool, like nothing just happened. Making a cool, straight face. I'm here, I'm present. Excellent. Yeah. What stood out for you in that practice? Inviting you all's voice. What was it like? Contract, expand. What's coming up for you? What stood out?
I was surprised how often I am in that contracted space, how habitual it felt, and how different the expansive space felt.
Oh, excellent insight. Permission to be powerful. What else stood out for you? Whether it was a thought, a feeling, a sensation, an energy?
I felt kind of depressed when I was contracting, but cheerful when I was cheerful.
Release without boundaries. Anything else stand out for you all in this contracting or expanding, whether it's a sensation or a thought that emerged?
Yes, the expansion is the game changer. That's where I need to be. That's what's gonna bring that let me turn that corner, so to speak, so they continue to be of service. So thank you. Well,
You're welcome, Carlos. It reminded me I can get rid of the negative. Yeah, appreciate you sharing that, Sia. And like we mentioned at the beginning, right? We can get rid of that negative, even if there's negativity around us. Right? We can clean it out of us. And you see how dynamic I am, right? I come from a lot of my family, a lot of pain, a lot of oppression, a lot of addiction, a lot of abuse and stuff. But I was still taught you can shake it out of you, right? You can still create positivity, energy, and love. And when there's pain and there's grief, you can also feel that, right? Right. So inviting us, right? We don't have to shove anything under the rug. There's a time and place for all those emotions. But what I want you all to leave with today is that we can create our energies. We can create our emotions. We can turn ourselves on when we need to. We can model that for others as well. Just like we can also model being a safe space for others when they need to just grieve or feel some pain and honor some realness, right? But we're able to do that for each other. You're welcome, Dean. Blessings to you. I'm going to give you all homework, OM, optimal movement assignment. Caught myself shadow boxing a few seconds. Release. Yes, Chris, right? So we're playful. We're bringing in that energy, right? And this mindfulness of it. I'm going to invite you. I'm going to invite Dr. Bays to put this in the chat. I'm going to invite you to take with you an atomic shift, right? Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to do what Hedda taught us for 10 minutes a day, every single day, and then maybe I'll let myself down because I forgot on Thursday and then I get all hard on myself. No, we're going to do something atomic, something small. And I want you all to write this down with a piece of paper, right? An action that you're going to do for yourself, the location and the time of the day, every day. It could be 30 seconds. I'm gonna do some push-ups. 30 seconds, I'm gonna do the scan of the room. I'm gonna do the scan of my body. I'm gonna run in place once an hour. I'm gonna put my timer on. I'm gonna put it in my Google Calendar. Whatever it is, right? And just notice that it's atomic. When it's small, we can build off of it. And it builds confidence. We build confidence with ourselves. We become of our word, of our palabra, of our integrity. And if we miss a day or we modify a day, it's okay as long as it's on your terms, right? So write down for yourselves an atomic shift, right? That you're going to implement, right? Starting tomorrow. The action or activity, the place at the front of my bed, in my living room, in my garden, outside, on the deck, and the time of the day, 6:30 a.m., right? Usually it's really good to do this in the morning before other distractions come in, right? So who needs another minute before they write down that atomic shift? Action, time, location. Excellent. You all got that. Receiving all the prayers and all the blessings. Thank you, Shelley, and thank you, all of you. We're at time. So pumped to get to build with you all and to activate that wisdom that's already in you all. From me, Gera, from Sanarte, our healing and culture clinic here in Yanaguana, beaming you all big, big love. We'll follow up with some notes and worksheets. We'll see you all in 2 weeks, and we're around if you want to connect in any other way. Wishing you all a wonderful rest of your week in this hot summer time. And I'll be on for another minute or two if you want to put anything in the chat, but releasing you all to have a wonderful rest of your week. Much love.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Gera, for being our expert in this area, sharing with us your wisdom and knowledge to help us do better for ourselves, so that in turn we can be better for others around us. It's really important to be a little selfish every once in a while, even if it's just for a few moments every day. Thank you for all the participants. Just a reminder to please take care of that GIPRA survey. It's really important to us so that we can share with our funders, people who support us, the important work that we have going on. We didn't have a whole lot of time to share comments or stories today, but know that you're always welcome to email us your information, something that you'd like to share, technical assistance requests that you may have for us. Know that you'll be getting information after today's session via email for taking the survey, as well as getting all the information that was shared with you, the video recording of today's session, as well will be sent to you via email. If you have further questions about any of our programs that are sponsoring this event today, you can reach out to myself. I have my email here on the left of the screen, and I also have Megan Dotson's on the right of the screen. Mental health and prevention go hand in hand. So it's really important that we work together to build up our young people, to continue to help them see the positive in life, and to know that they have opportunities for success and for growing in a very healthy way. So thank you all, no matter where you came from. Any questions for Gera before we sign off? We'll stay on for another moment or two. Gera, can I invite you to put your email in the chat, please?
Yeah.
I don't know it off the top of my head. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, it is .co. So people who want to reach out to you to maybe partner for future events. We have one more session coming up at the end of July, and then we'll talk about what we can do for the fall. It's really important that you hear and see more about the work that they do. Sanarte is being featured in the National Mental Health Technology Transfer newsletter. If you'd like me to send you a copy of that newsletter, please send me your email, put it in the chat box, because I'm going to save the chat. I failed to share that with you, Gera and Vanessa, that I wrote a little something about y'all.
Woohoo.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for participating, fully being present in today's session. Have a great day.